suck on with. Hey everybody, Winata here. I just want to get on here to say that I have an announcement for the channel, and it is that I am hosting a Mario Superstar League baseball league. Mario Superstar Baseball is one of my favorite games growing up, and because of wanting to relive that nostalgia, I am going to be doing a CPU versus CPU tournament where it's going to be similar to like an MLB season, but much more shortened, of course. It's going to have 8 teams in total, and I will be streaming and commentating the whole thing. In fact, I just want to go over quick details about each team. So there's 8 teams in total, and it will just be obviously CPU to CPU at the highest difficulty, which is powerful. And there was a draft. I'll mention about it whenever I commentate, but I won't bore you with the details of the draft. Just know that Green Noki was the #1 pick, which this was completely RNG, by the way, so that was crazy. And each team at least has 1 or 2 captains, 1 or 2, I guess, star players, I guess you would call in this case. Each team will go against each other at least once, but for each matchup, you have 3, like a best of 3, very similar to MLB, where they go to go against a team and they go against them 3 times in a row. It'll be the same thing. So in total, there will be about 120 matches between the whole league, and which, by the way, each match is 5 innings. And there will also always be a coin flip for whoever goes first before the match starts, because of the way that Project Rio is set up. And it'll be home, away, home for a certain team. The 4 teams with the highest record will go to the playoffs, and it'll be a best of 5, and then the World Series will be a best of 7. This is something I've always wanted to do, as Mario Superstar Baseball is one of my favorite games that I've ever played, and especially with communities such as the Mario Superstar Baseball community being such a tight-knit community, but is a community that has been growing recently, I felt that it would be cool to stream my own little league. If you're not interested in this stuff with the channel, I mean, I'm sorry. I may try to add my normal random uploads, but I wouldn't count on it. I may be spending a fair bit of time on this league. But really quick, I just wanted to also go over just the teams, just so that you know, kind of give an overview as much as I can. I'm going to start working on the schedule for all of it, and be on the lookout for upcoming videos of this. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you around. Here we are with the whole team roster. I'm going to go over them just pretty, briefly. So the team that got the first pick was Peach. She was the first captain and also got the first pick, and the first pick being Green Noki. The team themselves, they are called the Peach Dynasties. This team, with Peach as their captain, is much more technical based and really thrives on their pitching crew, which consists of Peach, Bowser Jr., and Dixie Kong. And then a really good outfield, and so you could say that they are very strategic in what they do. And the reason why they are #1, or projected at #1, not just because you got the first pick, but honestly, there's very little flaws with the whole team. I mean, Redbone's at catcher is fine because he's just a really good batter. And Bowser Jr., although a pretty strong batter, not the greatest at second base, but everyone else is pretty strong in their respective spots. You have depth for batting, pretty decent depth for running, speed, fantastic depth. Pitching depth is great. Fielding is overall pretty good, and having one of the best pitchers, as far as I know, there's no wonder that this team is one of the best. Next up is the DK Explorers. So, of course, DK being Monkey Man, he is very big on hitting dingers. The whole crew is very big on batting. That is their main thing. They have fantastic batting because they have Donkey, who's one of the best, Petey, who is also one of the best, Pianta, who's good, he's fantastic, the Hammer Bro, who is really good, and then, of course, really good fielding. I mean, Dry Bones is not amazing, not the best, but these three are good fielders. And then your outfield, aside obviously from the glaring issue of the Hammer Bro, these two are pretty good outfielders. So hitting dingers is their main thing, but as a result, they are a slow team. Offense wins everything to some people, so I guess this is what they're going for. So there's the DK Explorers. Next up is the Wario Garlics. So Wario, of course, I think he's one of two captains in this league that are catcher. And his focus is actually kind of like a super team situation. So like how I used to think, like how we would think of like the 2008 Boston Celtics or Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, Ray Allen. That's what these three remind me of, or like LeBron, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh. Yeah, something like that. But those are like the big three, and they're very well balanced, really good at batting, decent at pitching. So he's the powerhouse. He's the Kevin Garnett, right? He's your all-rounder. He would be more like Paul Pierce. And then pitching, which in this case would be like shooting, so like Ray Allen. So really good at pitching, but is good at batting too and solid at fielding. Three good fielders, and then the outfield is, I don't know if it's the strongest in the league, but is definitely one of the higher potential ones. And so a balance is very strong. But the biggest thing is this big three. That's the biggest thing with this team. And whether they will do something or not, we will see. Number 4 is the Yoshi Speedsters. This is going to probably be the one that I'm personally going to be rooting for just because Yoshi is my favorite Mario character. But there's a glaring strength and a glaring flaw. And it's the fact that this team is fast. This team is really fast overall, with Diddy, with Yoshi being one of the best base runners in the game. Baby Luigi, Baby Mario, the only thing they are good for is running bases. Toadette being a fast character, and Goomba being pretty good at that as well. Shy Guy being a solid fielder, Daisy being a good fielder, and then of course really your strongest batter being Donkey Kong, and then Daisy. But the problem is this team it lacks power, except for DK. DK is the only type of power that this team has, by far. I mean, Daisy is your second closest in that regard, but yeah. And the pitching staff is honestly, it's pretty good, to be honest. Diddy in front, kind of like an underdog situation, but it went back up as needed. During the other two games, DK and Daisy are up to the plate. So they want to have their weakest one go first, and then have power in closing, which is a pretty good strategy, I would say. And then next up we have the Bowser Flames. So the big thing with the Flames is defense. Defense is really big with this team. Mostly because of infield. This is I wouldn't say it's the best infield in the league, but it is actually, you know what? It probably is. That's their main focal point, is how good this infield is. With Toadsworth, with Paragoomba, with Shy Guy, with Peach. That's a really good infield. Batting is pretty good with these two, and then Peach being pretty solid. Some decent speed from the outfield, right, with the Toads being pretty good and Noki being good. Paragoomba also doubling as a pretty good speed character. And of course, the biggest thing is batting. Because, I mean, these two, great for batting. I mean, I don't know about Bowser Jr., but overall, pretty good for batting. But that is definitely their weakest thing. But defense wins championships, and if these four come up to the plate, they'll be like the Detroit Pistons. You know what I mean? So the Bowser Flames, 5th in the league. Next up are the Luigi Vacuums, right? So they are probably the most all-around team in this league. It's probably between one, like this team, or one that we're fixing to get to, are probably the most all-around team. Like, there's not really any. I mean, really the only issue is the fact that they don't have a lot of points on a certain stat. Because when you get to like pitching, Luigi is pretty good, but then next up on the list is, if I'm not mistaken, Dry Bones, who is all right, and then Toad really. Um, so you would think Noki should be in the outfield, and you would assume that correctly, but because these three are, Monty is best on the outfield, Toad is best in the outfield, and Dry Bones is not good at infield. He would be best at catcher, but Petey's at catcher, and his fielding is not that great. So, right, good fielder, good enough, and then the glaring issue right there, as well, like really these two. But I think he could pull his weight maybe a little better than this guy. But when it comes to batting, overall good. Like two fantastic batters, right? Solid batter, solid, and then some good speedsters, right? With these three, really good batters with these two, and then balance with these four. Well, really, batting is a strong suit for this guy too. One of the more stronger things that Dry Bones has. But like I said, infield isn't the greatest. The pitching depth is minimal, right? If Luigi is your best pitcher, no offense to Luigi, only pretty decent, right? He's only good. But everyone else, ugh, you know what I mean? But we shall see. They're very all around, so maybe because they're all around, they will be the most consistent team. But they could also be middle of the pack because of it, because they don't have anything that they necessarily excel at. Who knows? We will see. The seventh one is the Waluigi Smart Alex. So the funny thing is this team is probably one of the most defensive teams in this league, 100%, I would say, between them or Bowser's team with the infielding. But I think this one is probably the strongest because of the outfield being pretty strong, infield being great. Well, actually, no, infield is great. Potentially could be the best infield in the league, potentially. And Waluigi, like the best pitcher in the game outside of maybe like Peach or Daisy. And Toad at catcher, perfectly fine. But yeah, their thing is defense, right? The infield and the outfield, this is definitely that Detroit Pistons defense equals championships type situation, that type of mentality. The only issue with this team is pitching staff. Pitching staff and speed. Because in pitching, Waluigi carries this team because he is one of the best pitchers in the league, but because he's one of the best pitchers in the league, the other two that he's with is Wario and Toad. Two characters that, they could do some pitching, but they are not going to nearly be as good as Waluigi. So they're focusing more on getting that strong start and then hoping that Wario or Toad do not have bad nights. But even if they have bad nights and they start getting hits, they will rely on their infield and outfield, their really good defense, to be able to make those plays shut down. So, I mean, it's a pretty good strategy. They could really go up in the league because of it, and we shall see. And finally, the last one, the Birdo Models. Now, this was the other team I was talking about, probably being the definition of balance between them and the Luigi Vacuums. But I feel like they're kind of underdogs in this story. Like, narratively, I feel like they're going to be the underdogs of this league. I could be wrong, but I like to think that, because Birdo is kind of, one of the more forgotten Mario characters. You wouldn't really think of her being a captain in this team, but she's not, like, flat out amazing. I mean, her star pitch and star bat, from what I remember, being really good, I think. Could be wrong. I very well could be wrong. But her batting is good, and she's pretty much an all-rounder. Another interesting thing to mention is she's the only captain that is in center field. I think the only shortstop, by the way, was Yoshi, but he's one of the best runners in the league, so him at shortstop could just go really well. But Berto at center field, I'm not so sure about because Goomba is pretty good at right or really outfield, and so is Paratroopa. But Berto cannot do barely any fielding, which is why Koopa Troopa is there because he has pretty good fielding. And then the only other glaring issue really is Hammerbro being at second base. Or no, this is Firebro. Firebro is at second base. However, because of that, you have three fantastic batters, right? Three great batters, and you have a pretty damn good pitching staff as well as a result, because you have King Boo, who's a good pitcher, you have Mario, who is a great pitcher, and Bowser, who very well could be a really good closer. But yeah, you have three really good batters, three really good pitchers, good infield, good outfield outside of Berto, but Berto can bring it up. There is a chance that Berto could actually do really well. And those are the teams. Those are all 8 teams that will be competing in this league. After this season, I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to be doing, whether it's going to be like trades or anything like that. But that's not what I'm worried about right now. I'm just worried about this specific season. If you want, give me a comment below talking about what team you think will do the best, which one you may think will do the worst. Kind of give your own little power rankings based on what you think. Despite the way I have it projected is strictly off of draft count, like their draft number, their pick rate, not pick rate, but their draft pick number, and that was just for convenience sake. That wasn't really anything like that. Any league, whenever they start out, they go off of what team goes first in the draft is typically projected as to be the best, especially when it's an all-out draft like that. But yeah, that's the team. I'm curious at what you guys think. I am ridiculously excited for how this is going to be set up, for what the future holds with this. I hope you guys enjoy it, because I know I will be, but I will be streaming it whenever I will be streaming it through each week, each match, and I'll probably have some of my friends or anyone else to help kind of co-commentate, other like special guests and stuff, to commentate throughout the season. And I'm super excited. I'll be curious to see what you guys think. I really appreciate if you give this a like and a thumbs up and all the good stuff there. This is going to be a long season, but I'm excited for it. But with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the schedule.